And we're recording. So, okay, well, welcome to actually, Angel-ica. You end up being our final contributor of an amazing day. I'm on the Central Time Zone. So for me, it started at midnight, okay? And it's been every other hour until now. And I think it was Katerina Satori asked me, before we went on, how are you doing? Like, are you drained? Or it's so funny because in the break in between, if there's a lull, I will feel it. But as soon as the next contributor is up, I am like wired for sound. I have so much energy. So I'm super excited. We created this day of light and love to offer a couple of different things. One, to help fill the void for anyone who during the holidays, it's sometimes like a mile, you kind of compare, there's an expectation maybe during the holidays, and people sometimes their life isn't reflecting maybe the longing that they have. And that's not a bad thing, because you can recognize it and then okay, I've got to move in this direction to have a more complete experience like a year from now. There's also people who are living lives that probably feel kind of tinny. They look good, but they don't have a lot of depth, and they know they're searching. They're in need of more. Whatever the light bulb has gone off or the bell has rung, and they're ready to receive. And so what we did is we put together this event with 10 amazing women. I mean, there was 11 of us, but really all I did was just facilitate 10 amazing women who brought their beauty and brought their gifts. And I just want you to know that you closing this out is very profound for me, because I follow you. I like who you are. I like what you do. I love the emotion. So this is Angel-ica Diaz, and she is a mother of five. And number 4 and number 5 are twins.
Yes.
So God saved, that little special package for you, right? What a gift, huh?
A huge surprise, but a blessing.
Well, Angel-ica is also an author, and she's a wellness coach, and she is known by many as the spirit whisperer. And that and being the mother is the thing that I probably most resonate with you. So if I could ask you, could you give us just a little abbreviated snippet into kind of your path in life and how you landed? You're living in Florida now, right?
Yes, amazing.
Yeah, how did you land where you are and, where you are today?
Wow. Thank you so much for having me. It's a huge pleasure. I love you since the day we met, I guess. And the question that you just made me is like, wow, I have to collapse, all these years, 44 years. At the beginning, I feel like we are all in search of this growth, and we let life take us. And now when I go back and see those days, I'm like, I have always been a creative by default, even though I didn't know what I was doing. I was enjoying the ride so much. I didn't have a time to get stuck with the low points of my life that I see here and there, because we all have them. And I think there are lessons where we grow and we learn and we get stronger, and then we pick up and carry on. But I was born in Mexico in a very small town, and I never really felt like I could settle for what was around me. So I always imagine, myself traveling and going places and finding or experiencing other cultures. And look at me now. I'm here in Florida. Before this, I lived 11 years in South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, a very small town. 3 of my children were born there. teenagers now, and the twins were born here in Florida. But I always had this connection with God and this trust, just trust. He was there for me. But I just realized, maybe a year ago, that even though I trusted him, I always had fear. I was afraid of his punishment or afraid of his, um, you know, laws. You have to follow the commandments and you have to go to mass every Sunday. I was raised a Catholic, and I'm still, my children go to Catholic school, and we're still in the faith. But I just found this loving God that did not punish and that loved me, even for whatever reason. When I thought I, was guilty of something, he was there loving me. He was there holding me, There were many times where I did feel alone. I mean, in this country without my family, obviously I did feel alone, but his presence was there. His presence was like with me, but with that respect, like I felt like he was just so far away from me. And as things started changing and I started seeing him closer and closer, and until with the help of my mentors who helped me understand that God is within me, everything changed there. At that point, I became who I am today, who you see today, who...
Can you talk about that for a second? Like a little bit more in depth, that realization?
That there's no separation?
Right.
Yes, there's no separation. I mean, we were created to have this link of communication, whether it's the universe you see out there, whether it's the plants that surround you, the trees, the ocean, all creation are meant to be one, whether it's humanity and, all the elements around us is one, created by God, So if we were just to feel it, to feel that energy that emanates from the ocean, the energy that emanates from the trees, the energy that comes from the sun is there. We just don't see it and don't care to feel it. I talk to people about it, and some of my customers who are hungry for this, they feel it. They learn to open up that door of,
yes,
and welcome it.
yes,
because it's very. One of my mentors told me once, whoever is seeking you will find you, just because the way you are talking out there. They need to be ready to hear the message. They need to be ready for you to just give them what you have. And I think as we speak to others, as we make posts on Facebook, as we share our lives, it happens. It happens. More and more people, are more curious. And I think that's the one key that we lose sometimes. We think that by going through all those school years, you stop learning when you finish college, and that's not true. I think I had learned more in the last 3 years than all the years that I went to college.
yes.
I mean, I did 2.5 years of college. I couldn't finish my degree, but I made it that far. But I feel like, if we were just to sit quietly for a second, we will invite more wisdom into our lives that we never did before.
One thing that I notice is that you are very attuned to finding the beautiful. Just you see the beautiful in. I see a lot of your posts, and you will capture. It'll be quote just a leaf, but you'll capture it in a certain light, and it almost looks like it's glowing or glistening, and like there's magic built in. And I noticed that if you're taking your children to the beach, if you're nature plays a very, I mean, you're living in Florida, like right now today, I don't know what it is now outside, but today in Chicago it was 6 degrees. So we're not outside barefoot running in the grass because it's covered in snow. You know, and I love watching how you live in a tropical area, but you're fully engaged with the earth, with nature, and you bring your children. I love watching the twins in the pictures, and the innocence. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's a rawness, but not raw in a very innocent, open, pure form. I see your children, Nathan, and what is your daughter's name?
Natalie.
Natalie, yes. I see Nathan and Natalie, and children are I love children. And when I see children being raised like that, with such a pure approach to the world, it gives me such huge hope for the future, because we're raising generations that are the future, right?
Yeah.
And so, but this is about light and love. And one thing that I see is that you bring, like, love seems to ooze out of everything that you do. Every word, it just does. And there is a light aspect to it. Like it literally shines. And that's a compliment to you. I'm paying you but it's also an observation. It is an observation. And I'm so glad that you're on here, because I feel like sometimes people are at a point in their life where moving forward or moving out of whatever the darkness or the dimness that they're in, it just seems like such a long road back. I mean, I've lived times like that, and when you're in it, it seems like such a long road back. And I think about you, and I think if there was some practical way for people who are feeling the darkness or the dimness, I just think, like a walk in nature, but notice, a walk in nature to notice, to touch, to feel the smoothness of the leaf, to feel the other one that's a little sharper and pointier. Do you know what I'm saying? Like to see the beauty. And I'm saying all that as a lead up. Is it just coming to you that way? Or is that something that you kind of cultivated? I call it like a lens, like almost like sunglass lenses, right? Like, did you have to cultivate the lens, or once you got the connection and you understood that what you said, your mentors led you to information that God comes through you, right? You are one, right? Is that when it just happened, or did you find yourself now kind of applying a new set of eyes, more purposefully looking, or does it just happen?
One of the practices, and I say this to my customers, is not to make it perfect. You practice something not to make it perfect, because it's never going to be perfect to your own eyes. You always lonesome for more and more and more, but it's to make it a good habit. I started meditating maybe a year after I had the twins, because 5 children. I needed my time, my space. And I found that in meditation, I could be that person who could do anything to go and, handle kids for, 3 different schools, diapers and, whatever life brought to me. And meditation was a relief. It was just like, catching my breath, knowing that there was my safe haven when I wanted it. These days, I meditate 3 times a day.
Wow.
I find time, to give to myself, and it's like a quiet time to find God and to say thank you for having me again. Thank you for inviting me into this space. So when you say that, I see hearts everywhere, signs of love. I do see them, but I think it's because I'm right there with him, asking him for nothing, just present, just here I am. How can I serve? What can we see in this day that brings hope to someone who is having a hard time, having a difficult moment in their lives? When there is no hope, like you say, in the darkest place, you are always gonna find the light, as long as you know that it exists. But what I see these days is that people had, the trust. I literally had someone who came and said, how can you teach me how to trust?
Wow.
Can you teach me how to trust? And that is one of the hardest things for anyone to say, I am trusting enough. Is it really what I'm doing? But it's like when you are praying for something. When I pray for something myself, and I'm gonna give you just an example. When I'm praying for something myself, like I wanted my daughter to go to a good college and, have an education. I pray for it. And I thought, I in my thoughts and in my heart, I thank God for the school that she got. So you are there to ask to God, what do you want? And you leave it right there, because if you ask with the love, that is already done, it is already done. But when people are starting to think, why the letter hasn't come yet, and there is the doubt, and there is this questioning, and then you take back what you just asked. You didn't trust it enough for it to come when it had to come. So I feel like when you don't just let it be and come when it's the perfect time, it's because you doubt it, you fear it, you were not ready for it.
Wow.
Those are things that people, or the people that come to me, are dealing with. And to my eyes, it's very easy to fix. But then again, I open some doors for them, and they can see the light, they can see through, and they, through meditation, through exercises, we work together. And I invite them into this space. I call it, I created a program, and the book is about this organic lifestyle. It has nothing to do with food, but a more, enlightened way to see your everyday, because if you wake up in the morning and in that first breath you take, you start with gratitude, that's what you are gonna see through the day, opportunities to be grateful for the things that are coming to you. For me, sometimes it's a day, of laugh and smiles and cooking with the kids and helping someone with whatever they need. But there, for people, when they start just thinking about, oh, I didn't pay the bills, I'm gonna be late, the alarm didn't went off on time, you are setting yourself for a little bit of trouble right there, because instead of programming yourself to have the best day of your life, to live it with add a little bit of magic to it if you want to with that meditation that I have in the morning. I'm just welcoming this day into a good perspective, a good vibe. My children says, Mom, give me some of that good vibe today. And we do practice some exercises together. It's nothing, difficult. It becomes a habit once you start doing it every day. And it doesn't have to be, an hour or 45 minutes. I mean, it can be a short, it's 15 minutes, 5 minutes. What you can give to yourself is what fills you up. What brings you on that alignment, on that connection with the higher power of God within you, to see things the way He will see them, the way He will want you to see the world that He created for all of us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can we talk about your the 40 days? You did recently you completed a 40-day water fast.
Yes.
And the most you did was add cucumber slices and right.
I mean, at the beginning of the water fast, I did added some cucumber, lime, and mint as a cleanser, as a natural cleanser to help me, so my body, hydrate. And but it was more as a cleanser than anything else. It was an amazing experience, and I'm so grateful I did it.
Can we start with the motivation? Was that tied to the hurricane?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I thought so.
Yes, absolutely, yes. This relationship that you or anyone who wants to have with God, it can exist. It can exist. It exists in me, in my heart. I have received so much goodness during my whole life. I mean, there is not a thing that I'm not grateful for. Even in the hardest times, I am grateful for those because they, brought me where I am today. I came from a relationship. My parents were divorced, so it was, this thing of not having my father right there in my life, and then later on not having my mother in my life. So it was hard those days. But I feel like, as I say, this relationship with God, after He giving me so much, I thought, okay, what can I personally do to say thank you? And our mentor, Yvonne de la Flor, she was doing 40 weeks. And I thought to myself, oh, I wish I could do that. Even before all this happened, and I just couldn't see myself doing it week by week. I mentioned it to you the other day. There are days that I don't even know if it's Friday or Saturday. So I didn't want to take a chance on missing 1 week, because this is important. You give your word not just to yourself but to God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do this 40 days or 40 weeks or whatever time it is that you offer. So for me, it was important to be consistent and to be there, present, because He was present in my life, or He is present in my life every day. And I loved it. I meditated through the 40 days. There were days that were challenging, yes, because your body goes through so much, but the mind holds you strong. The mind is like a guiding system that tells you what to do, when to rest, when to drink more water, I mentioned to you that on day 11, I had this urge I was sick, I was throwing up, and I kept hearing within me, honey. And later on, I opened my cabinet, and the first thing I saw was the jar of honey. And without thinking it, I pulled a spoon and I put it on my mouth. And that was the end of it. I completely felt the uplifting, of my body reacting to the honey. But I had heard it like throughout the day for 5 hours.
Wow.
And I didn't react it until I was in my kitchen and opened the cabinet.
Wow.
Yes. And after that, I did had some pain, back pain. And I on those moments of pain, because the pain was unbearable and it wouldn't go away, I couldn't take any medicine for it. So I just felt it. And I literally, as my prayer was going, I will say, this is like carrying a cross. I'm gonna feel it for Jesus, I'm gonna feel his presence through this. And on day 20, on the 22nd day, the pain went away, completely disappeared. And after that, everything was just blissful.
Wow.
Amazing.
So, how do you feel like on this side of that experience? And it's only been, what, a month and a half or a month since you completed? What do you feel that you gained? Because that was a radical. I mean, it was radical, because I think I just completed my 17th week of the 40 days. And none of us really knew each other was going to do it. We just knew that, Yvonne had that. And I was like, I feel called to do that. And my friend Debbie's doing it too. So, but 40 days in a row is, it's quite amazing, actually. It's amazing, I think, that you even contemplated it, and then amazing that you actually accomplished it.
Yeah. Yes. I am grateful, because I did have to speak with my family and tell them, don't offer me food. Don't, if you see me resting, let me rest. And then when I know when I have to feed you and make and do, but if you see me resting, just let me be. Don't get upset. Just give me a little bit of time, and they understood everything. They were very helpful. My son Christopher was concerned about me losing so much weight, and he said, "Mom, you gotta eat something." I'm like, "Honey, I made it this far. I can go a few more days." But at the end of the day, the body goes through so much change on recovery. It's like you put your body in hibernation, literally. Your stomach, your pancreas, your digestive system, everything goes in hibernation. And you give the opportunity to reestablish, to rejuvenate all those cells, to make them stronger. So it's not physically, the body takes a toll. Yes, it does. But internally, at a cellular level, your body is like you just did a tune-up on your whole system.
Wow.
Mentally, it helps you see how far can you go when you just trust God. Yeah. He was my food. He was my energy. He was my doctor. He was my all. I mean, you just put your trust into that being, that higher power that is always looking after you. And it was an amazing experience. I was very great. I mean, I am very grateful for the whole ordeal, even for the pain, because now nothing else hurts, you know. Now I, I am really seriously thinking that doing it maybe every couple years,
Uh-huh.
because I know that I was talking to another friend who wants to do it, and I said to her, talking about the Holy Grail, someone who wants to find it, that's it. Do the 40 days, and that's an eternal life. Just because of the connection that you find with God,
Wow.
is just an amazing path that you take. But it's, I told her, offer it once you are ready. You know, I was ready. I was hungry for it. You know, for
Wow.
the I never felt closer than these 40 days.
Wow. It's really remarkable. Um, you are finishing a book, and I want to say that the theme of the book was how to live a more connected life.
Yes,
Yes, is that right?
yes.
Um, you told me once that uh, people see a wall. Um, can you kind of talk that through here for those that are listening or watching? You mentioned people see a wall, and that's a big problem in our society because there's no hope, no God, that the connection has been lost. Can you talk about that, because you are one of the most connected people that I know. You have a very, very strong and profound connection with God. It's just so evident in everything that you do. But you did make that comment, and if you want to kind of talk on that a little bit.
Yes, I'd love to. I had experience, you know, people around me um, focusing more on fears that they pick from everything around them. I feel like there is very few people who live without fear. And I can tell you that I have no fear. In my way of seeing it is that if I see God that surpasses all, why should I fear this or that or here or there? My attention goes to all those fears when I'm not with God.
Mm.
And for some people, that's what pulls them, you know, fear of, I don't know, losing the job, of not making it big, of, you know, not succeeding of something. And that's what freezes them or keeps them where they are. You know, I see a lot of people that feels like, um, you know, they want to be rich. Richness to me is not the amount of money you have on your bank account. You know, it comes from all the things that you're surrounded with.
Mm-hmm.
It's not on, to me, it's not based on quantities of money, or it's more about the relationships you build. You know, who do you listen to? Those people are making you rich in spirit, you know. And I have seen this happen with so many uh, people, and I feel like it's in a way happening to me. You know, the richer we grow in spirit is bringing us the wealth that we will no longer need, because you will see that money is not the end result. You know, at the end of our lives, we're taking nothing, nothing. But if we cultivate our children to see the connection that they have with God, and that connection is what makes everything possible, that's all they need. And when I say that people see a wall, it's because they're literally, you know, feeling like, I had a customer the other day, who came and said to me, I haven't been able to go to church to see God and talk to him. And in my mind, I thought, he's here with you. And when I hold her hand and I told her that, I said, you don't have, if you're sick or something, you don't have to make it to church. Or say a prayer, be grateful for this day. And he is here present with you, at all times. And that can be a wall, You are faithful to God, your faith is there. But you think that because this person was not able to go see him because she said she had her car broken down. I'm like, he's here with you. You just have to reach out, call him, and he is gonna, answer to your prayer. What is your prayer?
So we're going to be ending now, but I wanted to see if there was something that you had that you would either a practice or some steps or just a perspective on someone who there's just a flicker. There's just a flicker of light. That's their connection to the awareness that there's something, they know that there's something greater than. They don't have a well-developed relationship with spirit. But maybe their life is dim enough now that makes them want to reach to receive more light, right? What would you say to them tonight or when they watch the replay? What would you offer to them to help them in that journey?
I on the book, one of the chapters talks about where do I start? Where does anyone can start? And we start with who we are at this moment, being in gratitude for this person that is breathing within me, who I am today. It doesn't matter if that diet couldn't last long. It doesn't matter that if, I was fired and I'm not able to find a job. All those despairs that, make us feel like no one is there for us to support us. I think the thought of feeling down, I ask my customers, how long do you want to feel this way? Everything has an expiration date. Everything we consume has an expiration date. And people need to put an expiration date to their pain or their suffering or their loss. Because if they don't do, then they're going to continue feeling the same way over and over. And the year 2017 will look pretty much as 2016 or 14 or going forward, 2018. But I feel like if they just start with who they are today and feel in gratitude for how far they had come, they can start building a relationship with themselves, with God, and everything will shift. And a lot of the exercises that I, invite my customers to do is I ask them to find things that makes them happy. What makes them happy? What makes them love? What makes them feel excited? To find that fun aspect of the life, because we all once were children, in those years when there was no worry, there was no, I see it with my twins, they get upset for 2 seconds and later on they go back to laughing, and that judgmental self is not built up, and I don't want them to grow up with that, because I had it myself, and we all, I think, at some point have it. And that's what's stuck. That's what keeps us from growing.
Yes.
someone who can be an example in your own house. You know, it happened with me. There was a point where I felt I wasn't an example.
So we have a new year, and there are people that are going to watch us that are in all different levels of connection with Source, with God. Do you have any recommendations for the new year, or in preparation of the new year, so that 2018 is a year for whomever wants to develop that deeper connection? That 2018 is a year that they can point to that was the shift. What would you say to that?
I think I will invite them to be excited, to be, you know, to open or let that sparkle of the new year be their guide, you know, be a light into their lives, be excited, invite the magic into your lives, invite God to guide you where you need to be, you know, just be present for him as he is for you. I think once that door opens up, you will see that like growing and growing and growing within you in no time. People sometimes says that self-love is selfish, but if you don't have that ability to really love yourself, how can we expect to be able to love others, or give a smile, or offer, you know, more kindness into the world, or bring more goodness and receive it, especially receive it. If someone is there for you to help you, allow yourself to receive that gift, because it can be someone sent by God, because he is listening to your prayers. You know, just pray to him, just sit quietly. If you don't know how to meditate, I will invite you to, you know, just sit with yourself, and in that first breath every single morning, be grateful that you are alive, be grateful. What I do personally is I go through my whole body from head to toe, you know, and I feel it, you know, I feel the energy coming from up to the top, from the top of my head all the way through my heart, my stomach, my legs, you know, feeling well all together. And that's the person who's going to go out the door and take care of my children's, my customers, and whatever else presents itself, you know. So but it is very important for anyone who wants the good of 2018 to be present in their life. They have to be present in, you know, someone else's life, kind of give a little bit of themselves, because I think when we learn to love ourselves, it's so easy to, you know, your cup overflows. You need to share it, you need to give it away. It's part of the magic of growing the light of God within you. And I feel like is what the apostles once did. You know, they
Yes.
went and conquer the world with the word of God. So, and I see all of you ladies who participated, you know, bringing more light and love into this world. So I want to thank you so much for putting this together and
Uh,
inviting me.
it was great. Totally my pleasure. I just grateful for that I could connect the people that were connected and let them contribute and bring their light and their love to the world. So thank you. I know that there are opportunities for people to work with you. I'm going to ask you to supply some links so that I can put them in the comment section of the replay of the live stream so that people can contact you. Okay, does that sound good?
Yes, I appreciate it.
And then do you feel called to maybe close out the event with a
Yes,
prayer?
thank you. Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, God, for the blessing of this beautiful day of light, your light over all of us working together to create and welcome your presence into our lives. Thank you for your infinite love. You are always, always, always such a gift into all our hearts. Thank you for the love that you give us today and every day. I ask you to bless the lives of the people in 2018 and allow them to follow you. You be the guide and open their doors to you, open their hearts to see you everywhere. Thank you for being in our lives. Amen.
Thank you so much. This was great.
Thank you. A pleasure being here with you. All my love. I'll see you soon.